So happy New Year, or almost. For this month, Chinese New Year is the 17th of February. And obviously there's the additional video that goes with this where I'll read through the rough draft. I will do the rough draft because I've noticed, although it's helpful to have the cheat sheets that the computer kind of analysis of what I've written and puts it in bullet points, which is easier at a glance once you know the information. It takes out or misses some of that, so I'll do a separate video, and I will do it from the rough draft because I'm finding that I was doing it from the cheat sheets thinking it'd be easier to bullet point it in the video as well, and actually it's missing off info. So this is the cards. I've pulled 3 cards for each month, and I'm going to do one video for each of those months right through to next February 2027. So it's interesting, the ones that come out. I did sort of say in this morning's video, and I thought I'll do this as a video so I can upload it to YouTube, upload it to you to Patreon, and YouTube will add the transcript subtitles as well, and then we can use that transcript as well, and I'll do a cheat sheet for this too. So just so you know, to clarify at the beginning of our season of these 12 videos, but I will get them up in February so you've got them for the rest of the year, and then you can go back to them, and I repost them when the months are actually happening as well. So we have air and fire. So at first glance I was like, oh, right, yeah, well, fire, we're going to be moving in later in the month. We will be moving into the fire horse energy, but so that fire element is present for the rest of the year as well. It's that passion, it's that creativity, it's the complementary color here of this beautiful blue, which is how we create what is the speaking, and this matches with the air because air is communication. It's kind of Mercury energy, Mercury retrograde at the end of the month. As I said in the report, it won't really affect us actually. It messes with the lower frequencies a little bit. Maybe just be careful towards the end of the month when it comes to traveling. Just allow extra time. That's it. That's my only caveat to Mercury. And courtesy of Jamie Butler, that one. And I thought, yeah, I've not really been feeling it in the same way. And I definitely don't feel like it's a bad thing anymore. I definitely feel like it's a good time to work with communication, what Mercury represents in that sense, that messaging and technologies, or to look at technologies in that way. So expanding the creative energy, harnessing your creative excitement and enthusiasm, communication and passion. Well, I've called this month also in our little like graphic that I do, that's meant to be a visual representation of all of the symbology for this month at a quick glance for your brain. Magnitude manifestation. Why? Because our focus is going to be really, really important. And this card is almost a perfect representation of that, in the fact that it's about what we want to create with our focus and honing that focus. Okay, the other thing that I get particularly from this card, air travel, disruption, possibly from volcanic activity, which is highly likely. The solar activity and the downloads this month are really high. If you look in there's a picture. It's got like all of the little bits of a volcano and all those lines. They remind me so much of the veins in our body and the veins of the earth, meaning the dragon lines. This is the dragon energy. This is definitely very, very awake now. It's Kundalini within our body. I'll add a separate post that I was listening to something, and that sparked a whole download on something I've been asking about. What's the relevance to what the acupressure points on the body and the acupressure points on the earth. So, for example, what point on our body relates to what gate, and the spine is kind of almost, and the fluid in itself is very important, as to the fluids and the flow. And I think that's something that was coming through when I was hearing this. I've been banging on about the crystals in our brain, and their science is now catching up. I love it when that happens. It's like, oh, I love it when a plan comes together. It's like, I've got this information, I want to research it, I want to know the science and the technology of what I'm being told, and like the ground roots of that information, and how it relates to our 3D world, and how can that help us. Like, what relevance is it to have it if you can't use it to help people, is what I'm always saying. So yeah, and that structure of these crystals, how they are affected by light and radiation, is key to our evolution, is what I've been told over and over again, which I call the goblet effect. So the spine, the fluid as well within that, and the living water structure within that, there's going to be research, and I think there already may well be, don't quote me on that, I will go check that out, and if I'll post it in the group if that is the case. I need to research a bit more in depth with that one, and I'm not great at reading science journals and reading it, but I do like to know. So back to the card. So air travel this month, air frequency, and any kind of technology that has to go through the air, like radio waves, communications. Don't think internet, because although if you look at the sense of the underground dragon lines, ley lines, that energy, internet cables, most of them go under the oceans, so tectonics can affect it, but I don't think it will this month. I'm drawn more to the wings and airwaves, what's coming through the air, frequency and sound. I've definitely, few people have sent me stuff on how sound, and I'm talking not about the sounds that we hear with our actual ear, but that our brain hears. So these are sounds that are not necessarily, you're not able to hear them to the natural ear, like a dog whistle, for example. You blow the dog whistle, you can't hear it, but the dog can, because it's the higher frequencies, different pitches, and that technology being modified in a nefarious way has been before, to drive people crazy, even to amp up fear. And I've definitely seen documentaries on that, but when I tuned into that, as I said before, if you are in alignment with source, you can discern, even though and I'm talking about stuff, it's like talking about air and things in the air that you can't quite see, different gases, if you like, if you to give it a different reference, that though you ain't able to see that gas or that frequency and it going through the particles of air to hit your brain, it affects nonetheless, like certain levels of oxygen if it's out, or toxins if it's out. So I'm not talking about technologies that aren't real, for one, or that are in any way what's the word, conspiracy theories. I believe these are things that are actually being debated in courts and stuff. For example, they're now banning chemtrails, aren't they? So that's now going to be one of the disclosures for this year, and I think that might be the start. We'll see some of that coming out, but as for the dragon energy here of air and fire, that's where the fire might be, the triggers might be, the sense of the higher frequency of this card is about you creating your reality, but in in understanding those lower things that are happening, like with the brain waves and the that I've just gone on about, that might be considered a bit dense, or I suppose it is in the realms of conspiracy, because people will go, oh, that's a load of especially if they're not aware of that technology or if they haven't looked into the science. But understanding the science is key, one. And you need to kind of have at least a rudimentary understanding. That's why I'm trying to explain it in my, for me, layman terms, because I'm certainly no scientist. I'm shown in terms of visions. I'm looking up in the sky to sort of see, like, you see the cloud density today is like, you can't see the blue sky, and it's thick, and there's a lot there's a lot going on, like thick smoke, and foggy, kind of needing that clarity. There will be moments this month where you'll get lightning bolts, because even through the density of the cloud, when you see thick cloud, you can see the heavier things like a plane when it gets closer. Your awareness, your body, your field will feel it. Tap into your joy, key. Tap into your excitement. So I get excited about the science and how then it can explain how we are shifting on a very physical level, because it affects, like I was saying, the fluid of the spine, the dragon energy, the kundalini energy of our body, and the dragon energy, the ley line energy of the earth. It's all connected. Yeah. So anything else from this? Color frequency, orange and joy kept coming through strongly, and that's obviously connected to that chakra. So golds and yellows and orange and reds, all good, and crystals with the complementary colors to that. We mentioned aquamarine. I also think, I can't remember the name of it. There's another, I'll make a list. I'll add them to the rough draft, to remembering them offhand. The other card that we've got is the water pig. And just thinking, is there anything else coming? Oh yeah, before I go on, you see those little like fire bombs coming down, little things from the volcano. I'm not seeing meteors, but I'm looking at that and I'm seeing new life. So it looks like it was a little like little sperms, and it's like new creation ideas, new life being creatively breathed into the ley lines of the earth. Like it's a new energy, new birthed energy that is a part of, if you think of the Gaia as a living, breathing thing, and us as the brains, the neurons, the consciousness, this light that's coming in and seeding, it's like seeding new technologies, awareness within our field of energy, and then us as the neurons to unravel that within our being. I know that sounds a bit far out there, but that's what I'm being shown. Lightning bolts of consciousness, if you like, downloads to people, but also actual seeding, like new timeliney, I want to say timeliney isn't even a word, new life just is what keeps coming. New consciousness, like actual new beings, like new souls that are being born that are like different energetically in a way that they've never been able to be born like that here in this density of the world that we live in, because it was too low for them to be in. They're higher vibe souls. Yeah, so that's the best way that my brain interprets that. So moving to water pig. Water pig is being in flow. the energy is such that it is so easy to be in flow. When you're in the flow, it's like you're in the fast lane and there's like loads of traffic piled up and you're just going. And you literally, once you're in it, you just can keep going. Water obviously is an elemental thing with the flooding and rain possibility linked to lunar and solar activity. Oh, my third eye is going boom, boom, boom. There's something I'm not quite opening to. What do I need to know? What do I need to share? Still waters run deep. We're only on the surface. Right, if you look at that, this little reflective thing is just about to dive into that beautiful, you don't know how deep it looks like it might be quite deep because it's dark there, but it's barely got to the surface. We're almost across the surface, like pigs flying, if you like. Figure of 8, it's that 8 movement. And I'll put it in that post I was going to do because it was about unlocking each, relating to the vertebra and the Kundalini energy, and little breathwork practices to locking and visualizing each vertebra going up the spine, to calling in and opening and expanding your own expanded self, which we're all doing anyway, but just for you to then lock that in and tune or attune to your highest trajectory in this energy, away from the density of everything that's shifting. So being in flow is key. So the biggest message is that we've just had at the 1st of February, we had the Leo full moon. That energy is here, it's still around. Creativity, taking courage to step into your own power, to push yourself into progress mode. And I was talking about all these themes in the new year, so it comes with those themes of Leo, but also it's about watching on the flip side of that, what is ego. Not that ego's bad, ego's the fear side to keep us safe, but it also then keeps us small and not in our expanded state. Trusting ourselves, our voice, as Leo's, like with the bravery, with creative as a creative, I naturally will sit with this sort of stuff because I was always told, I was always experimenting, wanting to try things. That's that creative juices when they're flowing. It doesn't come from me, in my opinion, it comes from source. So it just, you naturally do play, and that can be, it doesn't need to be necessarily art. When I'm talking creative, you could be creative in the kitchen with culinary, with cooking and putting flavors together, with putting smells, aromatherapy things together. It's the thinking outside of the box of not what is generally known. I'll go into what the book says for each of these as well, but this is what's just coming to me from the image. And the moon at its first quarter phase, and the mountains again, mountain pose, tree pose, the poses in Qigong that we'll work with this month. We did a little bit today. We will go into more and do some water fluidity with the dragon as well. But grounding, because the root is challenged. It's going to feel like you're taking off, hence the flight analogy, as well as flight, not for disruption, but things taking flight that I was saying earlier. Yeah, okay, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Anything else first? The stars. Milky Way comes up. Not necessarily Taurus, but I'm getting an image of what are the pigs? Not pigs. The ones that they go and they look for the truffles, and it with the nose. sniffing out things that are just underneath the surface, like you're just starting to see the truths. And I think that's the thing. It's like yes, it's disclosure, but it's almost like they're not quite outwardly saying this stuff, but it's so blatantly obvious now that it's just below the surface. It's just there. It's just there. If you're smelling it, you know it. You know, if you know, you know. Right, and then the star. Well, obviously I'm not familiar with tarot. I tend to do oracle. And this beautiful tarot that my husband and the kids bought me a couple of years ago, I haven't really used. It's The Cats Rule the Earth. I just thought it was really quite quirky, funny kind of energy. And the star was let me get it up, was the card that we pulled in the tarot. And I've done a tarot card for each month as well this year, which is different to what I would normally do. So first I got from the picture I was seeing, this is about, I totally moved away from the tarot energy because obviously it's images spark things for me. And on this, it's like a return to the reflection of the water. Our temples originally they would clear pool areas and put like water there, so it would reflect the stars above. And this is like there, like you've got the pool and the stars, so that you could see that reflection. And then it was sort of going to me about mirroring, and the strong tree overcoming our worries of what we're seeing in the stars, or what are we mirroring within the astrology, to not worry about things, but to connect with nature. But then I read what it says. It says the star is a spiritual card that beckons us towards a brighter future. It symbolises faith, whether in ourselves, a higher power, or in the worth of the new idea or ambition. So it's like, have trust and faith in all these creations that we are, all these things that are doing, all these new babies that are coming in, or a new life form, if you like, or new higher life energy souls, that are also reflections of us with our new high intention that we're calling to the earth, because we're all the same stuff. The stars represent the innocent part of ourselves, that childlike phase, that cherishes hopes even when all seems lost. So it's a reminder this month, even if things are looking glum, that it's not as bad, to don't give up hope. The card often appears during periods of difficulty, showing that the worst is over and encouraging you to believe that life will be better. It reminds me of the card that I have in my pack with the clouds. Like, clouds are thoughts, they can be happy, they can be sad, and then we see when it's near the sun, it's the time the clouds are parting and the clarity is coming and such. So this card often appears during periods of difficulty, but showing that the worst is over and encouraging you to believe that life will be better. It counsels that you should be open to the gifts to help that are now available, either from those around you, or from the universe at large. The card can indicate you are about to take a path that will bring spiritual or creative fulfillment, but it is important to remember that the star does not take account of the down-to-earth side of life. Your task may be to marry this beautiful idealism with practicalities, practicalism. So all these beautiful, like I'm saying, all this beautiful, lovely energy and things that are coming through, how can we practically use it? What is, not in a horrible way, let's use the information, but how can we use it to help ourselves and others in the world? And that's what I was asking, in the philanthropic and entrepreneurial and humanitarian energy of this sort of Aquarian galactic stuff that's been mirrored, that I think is coming in. All of that energy, what can we do, that knowledge, how can we use what's coming through to help? So that was what came from that. And I kept hearing again that look to the stars, astrology helps us in a way. And I did want to just go over, just touch on, what does it say for 60 for the pig? Oh gosh, right at the end, it's the last one almost. Yeah, I think it's the last one in the pack of the book. So, being in flow, the water pig is a double yin water pillar, highlights the depths of the soul. Water element invites you to look into the dark side, so shadow work. The deeper we dive into the self, the more conscious we become of our hidden fears and anxieties. There's wisdom waiting to emerge from the underneath, you know, the shoveling just there. There's wisdom waiting to emerge from underneath the fear once awareness has brought them to light. The pig, in a yin water sign and a travel star, moves quickly but can get bogged down by her own insecurity. So this is about letting go of our doubts, taking courage, obviously the Leo time, self-doubt. So high consciousness enables the versatile pig to enter a stage of flow. This is a card of momentum and change, which obviously once the fire horse comes as well, that's propelling forward, things happening now finally. Go with the flow instead of resisting the inevitable. You have within you the ability to move through change with ease once you get past your own barriers. The more aware you are of the obstacle facing you, the easier and quicker the progress. Your dreams are closer than you think when the water pig appear. The only obstacles standing in your way are your own fears. It's time to bring them into consciousness so you can see your wisdom clearly and listen to the quiet voice of wisdom without getting drowned by the voices of the inner critic. You will only have to take a small step out of your comfort zone to realize that your fears are what have been keeping you constrained. Take that step forward. Great change can happen in an instant once you get into flow. Just check the time. I think we're good. Message from the heavens with this card is: see yourself looking into a still clear lake with your dreams reflecting in the water. What fears, like mirroring back at you, is blocking you from manifesting those dreams? Can you release that fear to make your dreams a reality? Definitely do that before the 17th if you get to watch this before then. If not, don't worry, because it will start to happen. It just happen quick. That's why I'm saying, like, to prepare yourself, start to go over things. The pig is a symbol of change, anticipation and getting ready. So these first 2 weeks energy definitely feels relevant for that, and letting the flow carry you forward. We should be good to go. Hopefully you can still hear me when it comes up with these little things. I think sometimes it interferes. Where's it gone? Air. I put those in there so they don't get lost. Air and fire. I should have got that ready before I went live. Sorry. Apologies. Let me just quickly get the page. 32. Page 32 if you've got the book. So, expand your creative energies, harness your creative excitement and enthusiasm, communicating your passions. Shimmering fourth dimensional blue and orange air and fire dragons are very vocal. They love to express themselves and make their presence known. They often create turbulence as They swirl around us. Air mixes with fire to ignite. Sorry. Hang on. Nearly done, darling. Grab that. Oh. To ignite. Where were we? An explosion of creativity, enthusiasm and aliveness. These dragons make us feel happy, excited and sometimes a little unsettled as ever, overwhelmed and even overwhelmed. At the same time, the element of fire transmutes lower energies and clears the path of our destiny, while air enables us to communicate our passions at a soul level. The guidance with this card is choosing the card indicates is a time of harnessing your gifts and talents for your highest good and that of the world. You have something in your soul to bring forth. So your guidance is to decide what fires your enthusiasm, then trust your inner wisdom and talk about it. Take a chance and step onto your true path of happiness and creativity, remembering that excitement and passion are magnified qualities and will draw the right people and situations to you. This card can also suggest that circumstances may present themselves to you in which you will require to make a rapid decision using your intuition and discernment rather than logic. The air and fire dragon who have come to you is telling you to trust yourself. You have all you need to make the right choices with your air and fire dragon beside you. Success is ensured. What a lovely card for February, and I'll leave it at that. Love and blessings, and I will be doing February, March, April, May, June, July as well very shortly. Have them up for you. Thank you.